Hello everyone, welcome to Greenview School's Kamulu online class. I am teacher Juliet. I'll be taking you through grade 7 English. You're welcome. Today we want to learn about our strand is grammar in English. In grammar in use, the strand is family. The sub-strand today is adjectives. And we're going to talk about the comparatives and the superlative forms of adjectives. So to begin with, I want us to remind ourselves of whatever we learned last time. And last time we talked about an adjective. We defined what an adjective is. Then we also talked about the types of adjectives. We mentioned two types of adjectives. So we started by saying an adjective is a word. It is a word that describes a noun. An adjective is a word that describes a noun. Now, when you say that an adjective is a word that describes a noun, it might describe this noun maybe in terms of the color, maybe in terms of the size, or even in terms of the shape. For example, I have this pen here. This is a pen. So the word pen here is the noun. Now, I want us to describe this pen. Now, when we describe this pen, one, let's use color. We can say this is a black pen. So you say black pen. So the word black here describes the noun pen. So we'll underline the word black, and this is what we call an adjective. So an adjective describes a noun or a pronoun. A noun or a pronoun. I hope we are together to that point. Then we also talked about the types of adjectives. We had two types. We had the regular and we had the irregular adjectives. We have more. During the last lesson, I mentioned that we have more types of adjectives, but we based on these two. So the regular adjectives. The regular adjectives, we say that these are adjectives that form their comparative form by adding the suffix er, or you introduce the word more to the base form of the adjective. So, for example, if we have the word tall, the adjective tall. Now, we want to form the comparative form of this adjective tall. We will add the suffix er so that the comparative form of the word tall will be taller. And the superlative form of this same adjective tall will be tallest. So we add the suffix er to the base form of the adjective. Then you also add the suffix est to the base form of the adjective to form the superlative form of the adjective. I hope we are together to that point. We have more examples. For example, big. For example, small. Those are examples of adjectives, of regular adjectives. I'm just giving a recap of the previous lesson. I know that you can remember this. I'm also going to give an example of irregular adjectives. Irregular adjectives. Now we said, for you to identify the irregular adjectives, they change completely in their comparative and in their superlative form. Let's use an example. For example, the adjective good. The adjective good. The comparative form of the adjective good, it will be better. Now you realize that it has changed completely in its comparative form, and the superlative form, it will change completely to best. Unlike the regular adjectives where we add the suffix er and est in the superlative form of the adjective, in the irregular adjective, with the superlative form and the superlative form and the comparative form of the adjective, they change completely. I hope we are together up to that point. We say that we can also add the word most. Let me give an example. For example, the adjective beautiful. The adjective beautiful. Now, we cannot say that she is beautifuler. That is not grammatically correct. We'll introduce the word more in the superlative form. So it will be, she is more beautiful. We are comparing. And in the superlative form, we'll introduce the word most to make the superlative form of this adjective beautiful. I hope we are together up to that point. You can clap for yourself for the good job. Well done. Very good. So let me not clear that. So today, our lesson, I said we were talking about the comparative and the superlative forms of adjectives. Now, we will rotate around the regular and irregular adjective, because by now, I know you can now identify the regular and the irregular adjective of an adjective, of a word. Okay, so let's start with the comparative form. Now, when we say the comparative form of an adjective, what do we mean? Now, the comparative form means that we are comparing either two places, two things, or even people. We say you're comparing people, places, or things. And we are comparing two. The key word here is two. We are comparing two things, places, or people. When we are comparing these two things, we can have the word than. For example, I can say, let me use an example of two nouns. For example, we have Jane and we have Mary. I want to compare these two guys, and I want to use the adjective tall. The adjective tall. So keep in mind that the adjective tall is a regular adjective. So let me have this sentence here. I'll say, Jane is taller than Mary. Jane is taller than Mary. So the adjective tall has been changed to taller by adding the suffix er to form the comparative. We are comparing Jane to Mary. So between the two, who is taller than the other one? Jane is taller than Mary. And we have this word than here to show that we are comparing two things. Taller than, bigger than, smaller than. So that is the comparative form of words. Under comparative form of words again, we have words that can change. For example, we have the word happy. These are words that end with the letter Y. So the comparative form of this word will drop the letter Y and change it with, introduce the suffix IER. IER. Look at this word here. This is an adjective, and the adjective is tasty. I want you to try with your friend around there so that you can give us the comparative form of this word tasty. Give you 3 seconds to do that as I clear the board before we do it together. hope you've done that with your friend. Very good. Clap for yourself. So the word is tasty. The comparative form of this word will be tastier. Well, how are we doing that? You drop Y, then you add the suffix IER. What about the superlative form of this same word? We'll get to that when we get to the superlative form. Right now we are dealing with the comparative form of adjectives. So taste changes to tastier. That is, you drop the Y and you replace it with the suffix IER at the end. Very good. I also want to say that we have words and phrases that take the comparative forms of words. For example, we have words like twins. When we say twins, it already shows that we have two people here. So it is double. So we use the comparative form. We also have a road. We have a rope. We also have a couple, because that means that we have two spouses who have come together. We have a duo, either, and even coin. Let's also add coin because it has two sides, right? Okay, so look at these words. When you find either of these words in a sentence, you don't have to overthink. The only thing you remember is you use the comparative form of the adjective that you've been given. I hope we are together up to that point. Okay? The key word here about the comparative form, we've said that we are comparing two things. That's why you realize that I'm talking about twins, because we have two. Rod, one side is thicker than the other. Then we have the rope, we have the couple, we have duo, we have either, and we also have the coin, and even many more that you can even discuss with your friend back at home. That is good. So I want to talk about the superlative form. The superlative form. If you have any question on the comparative form, kindly make sure that you write it in the comment section. Then we'll give the question, then we'll give the answer for during the next lesson. So let's look at the superlative form of adjectives. Now, when we talk about the superlative form of adjectives, what are we saying? We are saying that these are words that they compare three or more nouns, that is people, places, or even things. For example, we have the adjective big. We said that one, you should remember, or you must identify whether it is a regular or an irregular adjective. So this is a very good. It is a regular. Why? Because in the comparative form, we add the suffix er, and remember I've doubled the consonant G. Big, bigger, then in the superlative form it will be biggest. We've introduced the suffix est. I hope you still remember that. Now, I've said that in the superlative form, we are comparing how many things? 3 or even more. For example, your name is, you put your name there. My name is Teacher Juliet. So I use my name, Juliet, assuming I am a student. So Juliet is, let me have a sentence. Juliet is the most intelligent I hope we are doing it together. With the most intelligent girl in our class. Now, Juliet is the most intelligent girl in our class. Now, in our class, we have 33 students. So that means there are more than 3, right? Good. So, Juliet is the most intelligent girl in our class. So, we are comparing Juliet to the whole class. So we use the superlative form of the adjective intelligent. And I want you to keep in mind that I have introduced the word most. I say that when you are writing the superlative form of words, we have words that we either introduce the word most, or we use the suffix est to form the superlative form of that same adjective. I hope we are together to that point. Now, another thing I want you to keep in mind when you remember the superlative form of words, we have this article the. We have the article the. When we are talking about the superlative form, we introduce this article the. For example, Richard is the cleverest boy in our school, right? So we introduce the article the. I hope you are together up to that point. Remember, we said that the irregular verbs change completely. They change completely. So I think up to that point, I have some flashcards here. Let me write them here as I show you. One, we have this first one. I hope you can see it. You can read it with your friend. I'll write it down here. Well. The second one is this one. It is, let me use small letters. Famous. The third one is bad. Good. I hope you're writing with me in your exercise books. The fourth one is proud. Then we have sharp. We have sharp. Now let me remain with those ones for today. So we have the adjective well, we have famous, we have bad, proud, then we have sharp. How many are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this is what I want you to do with your neighbor. One, I want you to identify the type of adjective. Then after identifying, I want you to write the adjective right in the comparative Can you see there? Well, let me clear this so that I can write it somewhere else. Write those ones down. So one, you identify the adverb, the adjective. Then number two, write the comparative and the superlative form of each adjective. Good. So we will do this during our next lesson, but I just want us to have a recap of whatever we've learned today. So today we've said that an adjective is a word describing a noun or a pronoun, and we've given an example. For example, this is an eraser, so we can say a rectangular duster or eraser. Very good. Then we've also said that we have two types. We have many, but we focus on two, the regular and the irregular adjectives. We said the regular adjective form the comparative form by adding the suffix er to form the comparative form of the adjective, and est, the suffix est, to form the superlative form of the adjective. The irregular verbs, for example, we have good. It changes completely in the comparative and in the superlative form. More examples could be many, more, and even most. Right? We can have another one. We can have little, less, and least. We have many examples of irregular adjective. You can find them and even write them down. Then we've also talked about the comparative and the superlative forms of adjectives. We say that when you want to when you're talking about the comparative form, you're comparing two people, two things, or even places. When you talk about the superlative form, we are comparing three or more things, places, or things, places, or people. That marks the end of our lesson, and thank you for listening. Once again, I'm Teacher Juliet. Let's meet during our next lesson. Thank you.